watching the Action Film Writer Series.
The Taking of the King by Nelson Blish. Logline. In the early 1990s, the United States developed a high-speed nuclear submarine. The new Russian Federation intends to steal that submarine. Exterior, panoramic view of the open ocean, day. The camera moves rapidly over the ocean. Voiceover. It was a time of great change. The Soviet Union had fallen, and the global balance of power had shifted in favor of the United States. 4 of the former Soviet states had nuclear weapons. There was a possibility of war between the Russian Federation and Ukraine, and a nuclear conflict with the United States. An edge in weapons technology might be the difference between the survival of Russia and its annihilation. It was 1992. The world was a powder keg, and there was electricity in the air. The camera descends below the surface of the ocean. Interior, dream sequence, Martin Luther King, night. Senior Chief Joshua Clark, 31, black, athletic, is asleep in boxer shorts. The bottom of the bunk above him is a few inches from his face. The bunk tilts slowly downward. The hull of the submarine creaks loudly. Joshua wakes suddenly. He snaps on the light above his head and pounds on the bottom of the bunk above. Joshua. Chief Dietz, what's up? We weren't scheduled for a deep dive. Joshua pushes back the privacy curtain and gets out of bed. He checks the bunk above him. The bunk is empty. Joshua slips on coveralls in the semi-dark compartment. His feet find his shoes. He reaches back into his cubby and turns off his bunk light. Joshua walks out of the chief's quarters, across a narrow corridor, and into the crew's mess. It's empty. He stands a moment, head cocked. Joshua walks into the corridor and down the dimly lit passageway, downhill since the submarine has a down angle. He moves in slow motion. The ship's hull creaks like fingernails on a blackboard and quiets with a pop. Joshua climbs the ladder to the control room, which is bathed in red light. He walks to a depth gauge. The gauge reads 500 feet. He taps the gauge and the pointer drops to the maximum end of the scale. Joshua, voice slow. Crush depth. In slow motion, Joshua drops his coffee cup. He turns. Joshua. Abandoned ship. The control room is empty. No! Joshua starts up the ladder to the escape trunk. The massive support frame above his head twists. The thick hull plates sag inward like wet cardboard. A torrent of water knocks him from the ladder. Interior, Charleston, Joshua's bedroom, early morning. Joshua's in bed. His rapid heart rate is audible. His feet kick and his eyes open. He breathes deeply and his heart rate slows. Sarah Clark, 29, black, beautiful, lies beside him. The back of her head partially obscures the translucent curtains, which move in the morning breeze. Joshua quietly gets out of bed and walks to the adjoining bedroom. He looks at his daughter, Nicole, 1, asleep in the crib. He bends down and kisses the baby. He walks back to the bedroom and gets into bed. Joshua kisses Sarah's shoulder. He puts his hand on her waist and runs it over her hips. She puts her hand on his and pulls it to her stomach. Joshua, how long have you been awake? Sarah, a while. You were having that dream again, weren't you? Joshua tightens his arm around Sarah and pulls her close, her back to his belly. Joshua, maybe, but you know how fast dreams fade. Sarah, you know I can tell when you're telling a half-truth. You mumbled something about crush depth. I was about to wake you when you went to check on the baby. Joshua, I'm probably worrying about flyaway. Besides, it goes with the territory. To sleep or chance to dream. Sarah, if that's your story, I won't press you. And don't get pedantic on me. But that was no dream. It was nightmare. You sounded like you were drowning. Joshua, I was dreaming. It must have been about you. Sarah, yeah, right. Joshua, you sound sad. Well, why so sad? Sarah, you're leaving for patrol and you'll be gone 3 months. 3 months is almost forever. Joshua, 3 months is nothing. I could do 3 months standing on my head. Joshua brushes his hand across Sarah's breasts. Sarah, Nicole will be 1 year old and you won't even be here for her first birthday. Joshua, baby's still asleep.